Industry Insider is only available at Promo Corner, the leader in digital marketing for the promotional products industry. Each Monday, they discuss, dissect, and debate a single issue impacting the world of promotional marketing from every industry perspective. Now, it's time for Promo Corner's Industry Insider.
Welcome to another edition of the Industry Insider, your promotional products podcast.
Where you can get all the live nerdy news you need to know about.
Oh, all the nerdy news you need to know. We are brought to you by, I'm not sure, but I have my Tervis tumbler here, and let me tell you what they are doing. They are doing something really awesome for the environment. Cool. I don't have the ad read, but I know they are all about sustainability, and Jeff usually has a whole list of things they pulled out of the ocean. With that being said, keeps my drink cold for 18 hours, I think, and hot for something like that as well. So
also they have new stainless lines, I hear, that are super great.
Yeah.
So check out Tervis tumblers.
Check it out.
Looks cute. I want one. I love that print. Like, I'm so into, as you can tell, I'm so into print. So it looks so cute.
Well, as you know, prints are trending.
Yes.
So Meg, how are you today?
I am doing wonderful, and we are joined by our amazing co-host. Don't worry, we did the ad read. Hopefully it is Tervis.
Meg crushed it. Like, she crushed it. Oh!
Anyway, Melissa, we have Melissa Newman with us today. She is the social media manager for Advertising Specialty Institute. And today we are talking about content creation and how to build your brand on social media. Melissa, it is customary that we give our co-hosts 3 to 4 minutes to tell us who they are and how they got their start in this industry. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Of course. Well, you know what? First off, I'm obsessed with y'all. I love Industry Insider. I think it's so cool. You guys always have like the best topics. So thank you so much for having me on. I love the energy, and like, I need a video now of like Meg's intro, because that was great with like the little like wink with the tumbler, like chef's kiss. But yes, I need that in gift form, like ASAP. So I am the social media manager at the Advertising Specialty Institute. I've been in social media for about 4 years now. I've been a little bit in real estate, a little bit in, of all places, another really niche industry, but the dental lab scene, like, who would have thought? But before that, I worked in healthcare for 6 years in behavioral health. I was a certified therapeutic recreation specialist. I'm somebody personally who always likes to learn and grow and try new things. And like, I was interested in entrepreneurship and business, like really before I knew what that was. And I kind of felt like that call. So I'm like, I should probably go back to school. I think it's a time for me to skill up and try something different. I'm always up for a challenge. That's just who I am. So I went back to school, got my master's, and I just fell in love with like marketing and, you know, especially this industry, because there's so many innovative and entrepreneurial just spirits and just dope folk like all together. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. And I actually didn't even ask Steven how he was doing today or introduce him, and we were a little thrown off. So Jeff, I'm going to turn this back over to you. We did Melissa's introduction.
Yeah, fair enough. Appreciate it. And thanks for stepping up there, Meg. Like I said, with Zoom and like when you're trying to record, and now it does like the audible thing where it's telling you this meeting's being recorded, and then you go live and you got to wait for the notification. It's a hot mess. And then they've got other pop-ups that come up now. I don't understand why they keep changing this stuff, but whatever. I apologize. I tried to click out of the box, and it just completely shut down the Zoom meeting for me. So I apologize. Thanks for the introduction, Melissa, and super excited to have you on. I know today we're going to discuss basically content creation and using social media to sort of build your brand, both pros and cons to that. So why don't we just get right into it? And why don't we ask you, Melissa, like what is social media, or what does social media mean to you?
That's a good question. So to me, I think consumers, no matter what industry that you work in, are tired of brands and companies kind of keeping them at arm's length. So I feel like it's that first touch, like it's that warm, like it's probably going to sound corny, but that warm handshake, like if you were at a networking event, and I feel like it's a way for you to build loyalty that's much more authentic and genuine. It's a way for you to provide excellent customer service. It's a way for you to show company culture and soft sell your products and services in a way that doesn't feel like you're cramming a commercial down somebody's throat, which no one likes. So to me, social media is about, strategy, excellent content that's, helpful, entertaining, educational, and personal. And also, I just feel like it's a great brand building piece. As you can tell, I've definitely drank the Kool-Aid. It's definitely one of my favorite aspects of marketing, that's for sure.
Awesome. So I've got a ton of questions regarding social
Hit me
media
with them.
because I know there's definitely advantage to doing business to consumer on social. Business to business, I feel, is a lot harder. How do you like, what metrics are you using? How do you gauge what you're doing with business to business versus business to consumer? Because I feel like it's a lot more challenging. Now, of course, I guess technically a distributor could use social media to go to consumer to some degree, maybe, but it's still business to business. So how would you categorize that? How do you gauge what you're doing?
That's a good question. So I guess like to answer that in two parts, like not to give you what Jay Bassell would say would be like an MBA answer, but like it really depends. It really depends on the company, the goal, and what you're trying to accomplish. But I think in short, when it comes to B2B, it is a way for you to cultivate authority. It's a way for you to build know, like, and trust. It's a way for you to humanize yourself. And I feel like, the last stats that I checked from HubSpot, and they're pretty good with like their market research, they're pretty on point. It's like what, 10 to 11 touches before you close, like that infamous 10 to 11. So why can't one of them be you demoing on Facebook, a new product or service a new product that you just got in, or a new service that you guys are offering, or answering FAQs that you guys commonly get, maybe through emails like, hey, I just wanted to come on here and address these 7 questions we've been getting for the last quarter. And then repurposing that content when you have new customers come on and they're asking you those same questions. You can send them kind of a short interactive video. It has your face. They can see, who you are. They can hear the tone of your voice. It's much more personable. So I feel like, it's just a business tool. And I think, honestly, if you are a sales professional, no matter what industry you're in, it makes you more marketable. It makes you more marketable. It makes you, I think if you're interested in hopping to another company or, advocating for business somewhere else, like it makes you look like you're forward thinking, and how you're approaching marketing and sales and customer service or, revenue generation, in this industry. So to me, like B2B, I think it's a bad rap because a lot of people are still thinking about B2B as very buttoned up and not personable. And, we're just kind of showing like, okay, this person got promoted, or here's, a pristine stock photo of like a product. It doesn't have to be that way. It can be much more engaging. It can be much more personal. It can be, again, just a way for you to better establish yourself in a space, and make yourself stand out without, again, hard selling, which I think is just really off-putting,
So I think that really goes into the type of content that you're creating to them. Like one of the things that you mentioned was video, which I think is huge. And of course, voices, like a podcast or, just verbal messages is actually coming on very, very strong as well. So, I think the type of content you're creating is really key there as well, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I think also thinking about what you like to create, some of the success stories that I've seen are people really leading into what they're passionate about. Like there's stats about people wanting to essentially, like, I think it's 74% of consumers want to buy from a brand that they feel like encapsulates their values, so I feel like it's the same thing for B2B. You want to work with somebody who you feel like you understand their mission, their values, and that's aligned with you. You know what I mean? So I feel like, again, having that personal touch, it's not a knock, against you. If anything, I think it's an asset, as a professional, especially in this industry.
I agree. Go ahead, Stephen. No, you go ahead. You've been waiting.
It's all good. So kind of the $1 million question, and you mentioned success. So how do you, and this is something we're trying to do as a company as well, because we're looking to invest in a marketing profession to kind of build our brand and our attack. How do you define success with social? Because I think that's always been like the question, right? Like, is it how do you do it? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I feel like, and I would also ask you too, like, what is your business goals? Like for us, for me coming in specifically when I started last year, sitting down in my interviews, there was discussions about customer service and showing a side of ASI that hadn't really been shown before, and to me, my ears kind of perked up because I thought, what this brand really needs is to be humanized to their audience. We've been around for a long ass time and there's a lot of fixed perceptions about who we are, for better, for worse. And, I think that's important. It's important for us to kind of hear the feedback that we're getting from our audience. And what I wanted to address specifically was the amazing company culture, the longevity of some of our employees. Like we've had people here, we just celebrated one employee's like 40th year, because they've left, right? Like 40 years. Like I haven't even been alive that long, like 40 years in one role. Like shout out to Rob, like so cool. And I mean, like things like that, we're doing all this stuff internally. Like we had a huge party for him. But stuff like that wasn't making it onto our feed. And I'm just like, oh man, we've got to show that side of us that's a little softer, a little bit more fun, and a little bit more, unbuttoned up, like just cool. So that was really my focus. And then also the engagement piece. Like, for example, I did an audit of our accounts. From the copy that was being used, how things were being optimized, where our audience was, where we were having the best engagement. And really internally for myself, like I created a buyer persona kind of like of our audience, like, at a high level, what I thought they looked like, what were some of the demographics, what their age range was, that kind of stuff. Just to me to have like some consistency for what I was creating. And then I was going through like, every other week, like what performed well, what didn't, revising and pivoting, and then building those relationships internally about like the larger marketing initiatives or kind of gold standards that I would say like our events, new products and services, things like that I could kind of see where social media fit in. So in short, for me, it's reach, new accounts, because that comes down to new member acquisition. Like again, that first introduction to who we are, that top of the funnel when somebody's researching a company they want to get involved with, whether like for professional affiliation or purchase decision, the engagement piece, how many people are downloading a case study and giving us their email address. Like those types of metrics I think are important, where you can tie what you're doing in marketing specifically back to social media and how that contributes to either like engagement and I think brand loyalty and awareness, but also as well, like at the end of the day, hopefully leads that you're closing down the line. So again, I think, as well, I know this is probably a longer winded answer, but it really depends on what you're trying to use it for. Is it going to be you using the money that you would pay maybe to hire an in-house person to work with an agency to do social ads? Is it you doing an in-house person to just create content? Again, that keeps things consistent. So there's those brand touches. Like it really depends on what you want to use this position for. But I think either way, you can have success with social, if that answers your question, hopefully.
Melissa, you touched on a point earlier about social media humanizing us. I have been saying this since I started on social media, because in this industry, you call up your rep, you get the order, you hang up, and you got the sale, that's your return on your investment. But with social media, it's really hard to track that. And I feel like even with this podcast, like we're not getting like okay, well, I got 4 orders today from that. That doesn't work like that. We're now out there putting ourselves out there to be vulnerable, for people to get to know us. We're not just that order taker anymore. We're actually a family. I have a family, I have kids, and people see that. It's a great conversation starter. One of my biggest accounts and I, we have this connection that our kids play volleyball, and that's like when we get together, that's all we talk about, and I wouldn't have known that, unless there was the social media and vice versa. And there's some positives. There's always highs. There's always lows. But when we talk about some of the good things with social media, let's just really quick talk about this Gabby Petito case. Like, it's just nationwide, everybody is somehow like invested in this case, and everybody is on the manhunt for this guy, Brian Laundrie.
Yeah.
And if not, you've heard something about it. This poor girl was found so quickly within days because of social media, because of her following on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. It blew up. It blew up because, in this day and age, everyone wanted to make, break the case or, get their views or get the whatever, because they knew that the emotion that this was generating was going to draw attention to them. So, all these other TikTok stars. So they really are generating this return on emotion, because they know if they're putting this information out there that they're going to get followers, they're going to get people that are invested in this cause as well. And guess what? They found her, which was amazing. It was a little too late, very sad. But now, I mean, Dog the Bounty Hunter is involved, and it's like, it's crazy. Like he's zoning in. He is zoning in. Even the parents came on, did a press release yesterday, and the mom and the dad had been divorced. So I guess all of them, they'd been co-parenting, and they came on and they said, we co-parented in life and we're going to co-parent in death. And they all got tattoos, and they thanked social media for helping them bring their daughter home. So there is a very good, positive side to it. It humanizes us. It's helping, what is it called when you, it's the brain. I'll tell you in a minute when the word comes to my head. It's like, you
Recognition.
Crowdsource investigation. Investigation. Yeah, right. Love it. But then there's also like negative sides to social media. When you're being vulnerable, you're letting the world into your personal life. Like, do you have any advice on how to like navigate that?
Yeah, I think like honestly, I show a side of myself, like I consider myself an open person, but like who you meet on social media, like professionally and personally, is like different, right? Like there's a little bit of line blurring because of just who I am. I don't like to be buttoned up, so I'm personal through my job, and then also on my personal social media that is non-promo related. But I feel like, if you were just meeting me at a bar and we were shooting the shit, like, over a drink or something like that, or a conference and talking about the day, I'm like the same person there that I am online. So I think that's like my best piece of advice is you don't have to show everything, but you can show some glimpses that you feel comfortable with, and I think like consistency is a big part of that. Like, for example, like when I think about, Kirby Hassman, I think about like mindset, I think about like positive, like mindset hacks, or I think about his podcast, and his relationship with Bill Petrie. It's like those things come up in his social media so much that I associate those things with him. So I feel like, show your interests or your passions, but like it doesn't have to be warts and all. And I think like that's the thing that people kind of worry about is like, can I go on LinkedIn and post like a funny video, and will that be considered unprofessional, and will I lose accounts? But it doesn't have to be like that. Like you can still have some humor and fun and be yourself, so
I'm glad that you brought up Kirby, because I was actually going to mention him. I think if there's one person in the industry that's really doing it like well, as far as being authentic and, just putting yourself out there, humanizing yourself, letting people in, I think it is Kirby. I love like the day in the lives that he does. I love the different posts and pictures, the podcasts, and he's doing multiple of them, the blogs.
Yeah, a lot.
He's involved in a lot, and
he makes me tired.
for sure. So yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned him. What are maybe some other social media ads that you could share with folks, or not ads, social media accounts that you could share with folks of people that you think are doing it well and create a good example to help people get started?
Yeah. So, a couple of people in industry, I think Jeremy Picker is like crushing it on LinkedIn.
Hold up. He's actually going to be on our podcast next week. And we're talking about NFTs and our industry. So if you have any, and it kind of ties into some social media too, because we'll be talking about that. But Stay tuned for next week. Yeah, Jeremy Picker. He'll be a returning guest. Sorry.
So cool. No, that's perfect. That's awesome. That was like the perfect, it's like, by the way, like,
yeah.
tune in. So he's like so nice. And I think the cool thing is like, across all channels, like for his company, but also personally, like he is who he is. Like his Panthera collection, like that he has, or like his bread baking on Instagram. But then he's also showing like amazing apparel case studies that his company is doing that you're like, holy shit, like I want to work with him. And I think that's like the point. It's like, I know that Jeremy's probably like baking a loaf of bread this weekend, with his family, but he's also like turning out like bomb ass like t-shirts for his client. And like, if I was a distributor, like I would want to work with him. You know what I mean? So I just think it's like, that's the catch-22 is like, he is who he is, but he's still professional. He still shows like, his expertise, but it's also, some glimpses of his personal life that just make it like, a conversation starter, Another person I think is good is Taylor Borsch. Like I love her TikToks. They're so funny and they're so cute. And some of the pop culture she references, it's just like, and then it's like, there'll be like that promo placement just kind of like snuck in there. And I think it's like, just so, again, like awesome. Another person, Sarah Whitaker from Williams Advertising. I think she does lifestyle content so well. And she was telling me like on a podcast that I did with her, she's like, I've really honed into what my brand voice is. And me and my team really work really hard to create content that is, like we know what it wants is like how we want to represent our company. And we know what we want it to sound like once it hits our feeds. And she's like, we've definitely gotten, not through putting any type of money behind this content, social ads, but just organically business, because we know who we're speaking to, we know the type of content that they like, and we know how we want to represent ourselves. And she's like, we've even had customers come to us, be like, I saw A, B, and C posts. I just knew from that I wanted to work with you because like you represented what I wanted. So I feel like, those are three people who I think currently are like really, really crushing it on social media right now.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point as well. Because you mentioned organic versus boosting. Do you guys get involved with boosting any of your content, or is everything organic?
That's a good question. So for my role, I'm 1000% organic. I have a decent budget to do paid ads for social, but normally they're like top or mid-level like activities. It's, if I want to do a reach out on Facebook, if I want to send traffic to a landing page for like an event registration like that, acquisition activities fall out of my realm. So to me, it's more about like that loyalty piece or, being strategic. And there's certain events, obviously, that happen throughout the year. Like, for example, ASI Chicago, 95% of that content was like in the moment, organic, behind the scenes, fun, or like building anticipation up, and then also kind of recapping after the event. But there were certain things like I put money behind the album that I put up on Facebook because to me it was just smart to target people who were in the promotional products industry who would want to see that, because not everybody was going to be able to go or would want to go necessarily to that event, but they would be interested in seeing more about like what happened that year, what their friends were doing at the event. So it's like really being strategic with my budget, more for engagement, not necessarily for me, getting somebody to fill out a form, that I can like forward to a sales rep for potential conversation. So again, it really depends on like, your budget, your goals, and what you have your social media professional doing. But I'm like 85 to 90% just straight up organic for ASI.
Yeah, the reason I asked is I know with the when you are boosting, there's certain ways that you can actually really get specific and down and dirty with who you want, how you want them to be targeted. Like if it's somebody that is a part of this group or a part of that group, or if they search certain things. So there's a lot of like really good ways to really hone in on who you're searching for, which is sort of what I wanted to try to get into if you did do any boosting, like how you guys do that. So no worries there. I think organic is probably the best thing anyway. So
yeah, and if you want, I can email you after if you're looking for resources and stuff like that, to share out or just use yourself, because I have some stuff from like freelance gigs and things like that if you're interested. So let me know.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other questions for Melissa as far as social media goes or building a brand?
Well, he's thinking.
Yes, they're just so like intense questions though that require, not quick answers. So I guess the only I know we're kind of wrapping up on time here, but when most of our industry gets hired from outside the industry, right? Or born into or falls into it is kind of the thing.
Yeah.
So someone who's going to take over branding for a company or invest in that, there's a good chance there's a big learning curve of understanding what our industry is, and especially if someone's going to take that on to be the brand of that company or be that personality of that company. But I think a lot of it has to do with being your own personality, right? Allowing you to be yourself and then showing that through the company. So I'm just wondering, are there any helpful tools or resources you would recommend for people that are going to dive deeper into social with, obviously those examples would be really good, but like learning about the industry before they go out and tell everyone about it, right? Because you have to know about it before you can share about it.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't say I definitely had an advantage because we have like such a standardized program. Like, shout out to Joe Haley with that company education, because like when I came in, they were trying to explain like I kid you not, it was like that meme where that lady has like all the math symbols in front of her, like the supply chain aspect of our industry, and I was like, like what? Like I don't understand. But it took me about I'll say like 3 months for me to have like, I felt like a foundation enough to kind of understand where I felt like I could articulate things in a way that like wouldn't go to be copy edited by our department to be like, you completely sound wrong. Like, it's just not like anybody we can't put this out there because it doesn't sound right. You know what I mean? So that being said, like, I think, some of the people have asked me the same question, and in short is, there's tons of free education that ASI offers, the other professional organizations in this industry, free tools where it's like, I think depending on, again, the goals that you have for your business, like if you're hiring somebody in-house, I think immerse them in your business, your mission, your values, what you guys stand for, your product lines, if there's any specific trends you're seeing on social for maybe customer service, where you can come up with like canned responses for them for things, and then establish goals about like, are we building out our following? Are we trying to maintain and enhance the content? Are we going to focus on acquisition, where maybe we should consider putting some money into some social ads, because that doesn't, hurt you. I think it actually accelerates what you do organically. Or is this really going to be just a way for us to utilize like the prolific amount of content that we have and serve our audience, like entertain, educate, build that loyalty so they come to us, and we keep like kind of top of mind. So I think having that discussion with that person or your internal team before you hire that person. And I think, having some type of budget, I think is really important for anybody, especially in a new industry, for them to participate in industry events. Because I know for me, my education accelerated so much more quickly when I was able to network with other promo professionals and they could tell me more about their business, their struggles, their hopes, like, what it was like working at their companies. And that gave me like a really cool personal connection that also helped with developing content and copy. And, also I think being realistic about getting a hold on what this industry is, because I feel like, again, if you're coming in, like, again, I came from like a dental lab, you know what I mean? It was like talking about, like this crown or, this person, like this color of white for, like a crown, like, and then coming into promo was a completely different thing. But I didn't even start really making content until like 4 months into my role. And it was because they really wanted me to learn about the business, the industry, and start to slowly take over the channels. That would be another thing too, is like, if you have more than one, maybe start on one with that in-house person before you move to the next one and kind of bombard them with, monitoring like 6. But those would be some of, my tips. But if you have other ones, like, especially if you're trying to find somebody to help you guys in-house, like, I would be more than helpful to answer any more intense questions you have, Stephen, for and help you out. No problem.
Email anytime.
Yes, please do. Or we can talk after this, whatever you need. No problem.
Very cool. Meg, any follow-up questions?
I couldn't take notes, but I'm just gonna have to go back and re-listen to this because I love social media. There's always pros and cons, and I think Melissa's done a great job for ASI. If you guys aren't following her, check her out on Twitter. We'll put all of her handles below, so you can definitely follow her. She was always putting something out there that's a lot of fun, and she's doing the TikTok now for ASI too, I think, as well. Is that right?
Yes, we launch on September 20th. And let me just say, get it, Meg, that video that you did, as soon as the Western sample came up, I was like, she's doing it. I was like, this is great. This is such a cool TikTok. I was like, she's crushing it. So thank you.
The guys love when I dance. Let me tell you, they love the dance videos.
Yeah.
So, well.
Fair enough. Do we have time for a rapid fire question, or do we want to
I think we should do
up?
one. I think we should do a quick rapid fire, real quick.
All right.
Quick, rapid fire.
All right. My question is, what are you going trick-or-treating as this year?
Me? Oh, I was like, who's going to go first?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to go as Courtney Love because I just got a puppy that I named Kurt Cobain. So I feel like it's just I'm going to dress him up in a little 90s outfit. I'm going to get a blonde wig, photo shoots, loading, get ready. It'll be on social media. So
I was just going to say, I'm sure we'll see that on the
Yeah.
We haven't decided yet. Addie's going to have her birthday party. We're moving it up so we can actually have it this year. So we're going to do a Halloween themed birthday. She's a late November baby. So my Halloween will be that.
Cute. I love it.
I will say this as quickly as possible. So one daughter wants to do is Elsa of mine. The other one is going as Mavis from Hotel Transylvania, and they both want me to be like with them. One wants me to be Kristoff, and the other one wants me to be Dracula. So
I
I'm embarrassed. I said that last night, and I said my name would be Dracoff, and it just doesn't sound right when it came out. So
Been wins.
so I don't know if that's what I'm really gonna do, if I'm just gonna go to something else yet, but that's in the works.
Incredible.
What about you, Jeff?
You know what? I'm kind of in your camp, Meg. I'm undecided. We got to figure out what the girls are going as first. We're a little behind, but I just noticed that freaking stores are putting Christmas shit in their stores already. So it's we're not even in October yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll be lucky if there's any Halloween costumes left, I guess.
Yeah.
Meg, what's your question?
All right. I know we've touched on this before, but since I had to do the read ad, what is your favorite piece of drinkware?
I mean, obviously Tervis, right?
Well, I mean, now that I have a Tervis.
It was really nice of them to send you one.
I have to say, it's I feel horrible saying this because I'm blanking on the supplier we got this from, but it's my little ASI mug that Michelle Bell got for us for last year, and it's in surviving the insanity together.
I love it.
Yes. Oh, I wish I could remember the name, but it's a really cute one.
That's all right. You remember it because of the message, and then the person who gave you, it's about that return on emotion, and it was Michelle Bell, so I know it was a bomb diggity gift.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Honestly, I actually do really love the thermos that you guys did for the Sleep In for Good. This is what I've been using a lot. The thing that I like about this, what I really need, honestly, is a piece of drinkware that is really easy to clean, because the rubber gaskets a lot of times on the lids tend to create a lot of
grimy.
And sometimes they're difficult to clean. So this one I just took apart the other day and cleaned it, and it was fairly easy. Took me a second to sort of figure out how to get it all back together, but I think it was pretty good.
You're supposed to clean the lids?
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
Maybe
Doesn't
did you say
the
you're
hot
coming
coffee
down with
from the
something,
next
Stephen?
pour?
Maybe that's why you're not cleaning your lids,
I
man.
thought the hot coffee from the next pour just killed everything.
Oh,
Probably right, honestly.
I'm kidding. My favorite drinkware would actually probably be very lame and be like a big plastic cup. It's probably my.
That's really good for the environment.
Is it
I
just like
reuse
a
it.
gold cup or
I
something?
reuse it every time. I don't throw it away. Like something like this.
You
If
just
you're
drink it.
reusing it, it is just as
Yeah.
sustainable as anything else. All
It's,
right.
it's not fancy, but it's probably like my most go-to, just like
I
drinking
got you.
water.
I got you.
I mean, I would barf in that cup.
Like your team's doing this year.
And
Oh.
that's a fair assessment. I will. You know what? I'll wear that on my face. Fair enough. All right, Melissa, what's your? You said already, right? Did
Yeah,
you answer?
I did. Mhm.
Yeah.
So, Stephen, what is your?
Paint or carve a pumpkin?
I love to carve, but my wife would rather paint and would rather have the kids paint as well. So I've just kind of not been carving lately because it's kind of a pain in the butt to carve by myself. You know,
That's
anybody want to
sad.
carve a pumpkin with me?
I like to carve pumpkins and I like to eat the seeds in the side, but during that Halloween party, I'm not carving 10 to 15 pumpkins. So we're going to do like pumpkin painting. So I think when it's kids involved, less mess, paint, but for
Yeah.
myself, the carving.
Yeah.
I say like 100% paint only because like the smell of like fresh pumpkin like makes me a little like ugh. Like I'm just like I can't, like I'll end up throwing up into the pumpkin. It won't, it's like no one wants to see that. So I say paint 100%.
I think we need to bottle that smell and send it to Bill Petrie. Is what we.
It's the candy corn, right? Or the candy corn and the pumpkin spice.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
pumpkin
God.
spice
Let's
anything,
go.
basically.
Carve for me all day, and I'm one of those people that spends way too long on it. And I also know how to like do the multi-layer carving, where sometimes it's just the skin and sometimes it's all the way through. And I come up with these. I'll post some pictures if
I
it's
was
really
about to say
wanted.
I need social photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Unless you
gonna
have
share some
press.
photos.
What's that?
Perhaps, Melissa?
I
Do you have a question for us?
question. Ooh, what's your favorite social media platform? You got to ask a social question.
Yeah.
Favorite is we're going to use that word loosely. But I would say either Facebook or Instagram, and probably I'm on Facebook more than anything else.
Okay, interesting. All right, what about you, Meg?
Actually, hold on. YouTube counts, right?
Yeah,
If
YouTube does
counts,
count.
I'm going to say YouTube. That would be my
Oh.
favorite. Yeah.
Nice. I feel like no one picks YouTube anymore, and I feel like everybody uses it though.
Everybody uses it.
It's the TikTok of the early 2000s. It really is.
It really is.
Have you heard of YouTube Shorts? It is basically TikTok.
Yeah.
Uh,
I would say I probably use Facebook the
Fine.
most, but I love TikTok. I spend hours a day on it now.
I feel like I knew the answer to this. I was like, I bet she's gonna say TikTok.
I love it.
TikTok. TikTok's great.
I
What about-
refuse.
You said I refuse.
I send him videos all day long though.
I mean, there's a new platform that comes out like every week. So I mean, I give up. I don't,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna stick with what I know.
I feel you.
My favorite to use is Facebook. My favorite to view is TikTok.
Yeah, I can believe that. Yeah, I think that's how most people's relationship is. Like, they don't necessarily like to create for TikTok, but they like to consume on TikTok because it's so fun. And I have to say, at this very moment, it's a tie between TikTok and YouTube. Like YouTube, because I love watching, like, there's something about like watching somebody's day in the life content where it's like, they wake up, it's all staged and stuff, and it's really, really like fascinating to me. But I think also TikTok, just because some of the stuff on there is just so funny and so creative, so can't go wrong.
And we're up in there solving murders too.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like if I got on TikTok, that would probably be something that would consume too much of my time, which is why I try to avoid it, honestly. So, because I mean, the what little bit of content I have seen from TikTok, it is pretty good. So, yeah. Well, since Meg, your question was all about drinkware, and your answer obviously was those good goods over at Tervis. Look, I didn't get to. I was not here for the ad read, so I'm not sure exactly what you said, but we're gonna go with the official version.
It's gonna be pretty safe if you just read it.
Yeah. So look, Tervis has been around since 1946 and they're celebrating 75 years in business, and they started with their classic line. They've got sleek styles that make perfect for the active and on-the-go lifestyle. They're the original double wall insulated drinkware that keeps your cold drinks cold and reduces condensation. They're backed by a made-for-life guarantee. Tervis is the original customizable double wall insulated drinkware that keeps your hot drinks hot and your cold drinks cold, and they're available in several sizes as well, including a 16-ounce mug, a 16 or 24-ounce tumbler, and also a 24-ounce water bottle. Made from Triton plastic, made in America, lifetime warranty, dishwasher and microwave safe, and they're also BPA free. So go check them out at tervispromos.com and let them know that Meg Erber sent you.
Please do.
And the rest of the cast of Industry Insider. Let's not forget Stephen and Jeff and the special guest Melissa Newman. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. I know you're a wealth of knowledge with social media, and you're getting a lot of love in the comments. So really excited to have had you and to share your knowledge with us, and hopefully our audience is able to take something from it and get more social and get more human, right?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. A pleasure. This was awesome, and I really appreciate you guys. Keep the awesome work up on Facebook with Industry Insiders.
Thank
We
you.
will definitely try.
Of course.
All right, awesome. All right, well, take care, guys, and stay tuned. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Promo Corner's Industry Insider. For more great content from industry thought leaders, including podcasts, blogs, and videos, visit promocorner.com.